Hey, welcome to another episode of Dan's Jams, and today we're doing Green Day, American Idiot. As you may have noticed, I look a little pizzazzier today. This was originally a shirt I bought for a management position. Then it turns out I didn't need that shirt. Eventually you might see other colors, like red, blue, green. Keep it spicy. I first came across Green Day when I was I don't know, 10, 11. When did that album come out? 2005. I remember hearing Boulevard of Broken Dreams on the radio every now and then, like somewhere, like if I was in someone else's car or something like that. And I always remember really liking it. I remember singing it in the van with my friend once, but never knowing where it came from until as I got older. Like I knew it was around, I just never knew where, like who sang it or whatever. And while I was young, I listened to both their old stuff and their new stuff, but I didn't care for their old stuff that much while I really liked their new stuff. And as I got older, I started to really like their old stuff and started to dislike their newer stuff. Eventually, I found out, oh, my dad has this CD. And as soon as I got an iPod, put that puppy on there. The rest was pretty much history. Emotionally, the album's pretty moody. It has some political angst, but some personal angst as well. Now, I know there are several versions of this album where one song will transition into the other, so I don't know how that can affect the track list. I know the version that I'm looking at has 13 tracks. I do think the album's pretty front loaded. American Idiot is a solid opener. It's also a solid thesis statement. It's good enough that Weird Al parodied it. You can't get much better than that. Holiday was also one of my favorites growing up. I remember that we had to do some song and dance thing, and at the time I didn't really know anything about it, so I just kind of asked my teacher, hey, what if we did this as a suggestion? And I got a no. But, at least I tried. And then the transition from Holiday into Boulevard of Broken Dreams works really well with the just the guitar waves. There really aren't any weak tracks per se on the album. I do think Are We the Waiting is a little weaker than the others, but I get why they had to put it there. It was sort of a more mellow moment, and that's just the song they came up with. It's just a little too drummy for me, and I don't think it has enough else going on. The album's very consistent. The album's arc, the themes, the tracks are good. Nothing about this album really stands out to me these days. And that kind of winds up being the problem overall. Uh, Despite being a pretty well constructed album overall, it just doesn't take any risk. It plays it far too safe for my liking. It's an album where if it hadn't been by Green Day or if it hadn't had these massive singles, you probably would have said, oh, I've heard this before. It really kind of begs the question, is it really a landmark for music or is it a landmark for Green Day? And I wouldn't even consider it a landmark for Green Day because, if anything, I think it's more of a step backwards. And that's why I'm going to put it in C tier. I know that some people are going to say that I'm crazy for that, but it's just my opinion. You gotta remember that. Anyway, so they still get my respect though. Obviously, they shaped a lot of the music I listen to now, and I'm still listening to their old stuff, of course. Next album from my childhood has gotta be Burn Season. Probably not a lot of you have heard of them, but you have now. On holiday!